The Wellness Show, episode 229. Welcome to The Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyhson Banighen, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more. All right, we should be live. This is Tyhson Banighen. This is The Wellness Show. And today the topic is You Are More Than Enough. And yes, you are. And if you don't know that, you should know that. And we have a very famous author here, Judi Moreo, like Moreo. And she's more than a cookie cutter. And in the background, you can see that she's a painter and she's an author and a creator and an awesome coach from what I can read from all of the feedback that she's got from her clients. So what does this mean, you are more than enough?
Well, I wrote the book, You Are More Than Enough, because so many people I know, even grown people, even older people, still feel insecure. And when I would travel across the country, in fact, all over the world, I would say to my audiences, do you think that you should have been something more by now? And about 3/4 of every audience would raise their hand and say, yeah, I should have been, I could have been, if only I'd been. And everybody seems to think they should have been more. So what's wrong with what you are right now? You are more than enough. I have people say, well, I'm just not enough. Well, you are enough. I had a lady say to me the other day, what if I was somebody and nobody knew that? And I said, well, you are somebody. And the only person that has to know that is you. And so we've got to start to accept that we are enough. Who we are is everything. And we created who we are, from the time we were little. We started doing what we believed that was right for us. We made choices and we have to live with those choices. And maybe we made right choices and maybe we made wrong choices, but we are who we are.
So you talk about one of the big things that's in the way is self-criticism. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, people beat themselves up so bad. If you made a mistake and you were my friend, I would never go to you and say, oh, you're so stupid, you're so dumb, you should be this, or you could have done better, or you embarrassed me the way you were. But yet, if I do that, if I make a mistake, if I do something that I don't think is appropriate, what do I say to myself? I say, oh, I'm so stupid, I'm so dumb, I could have, I should have, if only I had have. And, we look in the mirror and we say, oh, I'm so ugly, or my nose is too big, or my mouth isn't the right shape, or my hair isn't good. We're just so busy beating ourselves up all the time. And we need to stop criticizing ourselves. Why not love ourselves? Even in the Bible, it says to love thy neighbor as thyself. It doesn't say instead of thyself.
That's
so
right.
We're supposed to be caring about who we are. And if we don't talk positive to ourselves, we can't expect anyone else to.
So how do you feel about the fact that we can only love others to the extent that we can love ourselves first?
I feel very strongly about that. I think, unless you're loving yourself, when you're in a relationship with someone else or when you're around other people, it's very hard to love them, because what happens is we're so busy being on the defensive. Because when we don't love ourselves, we think they're looking at us, we think they're judging us, and we're just ready to fight. We're ready to say, wait just a minute. And so if we really love ourselves, then other people can do or say or be whatever they want, and it doesn't affect us. It's not what you say about me that affects how I behave. It's what I think about what you say about me. So if you said, wow, Judi, you're really stupid, I might think you had a perceptual problem and needed to be locked up somewhere. But but if on the other hand, it might be the same way. If I said, hey, Judi, you're really smart, and I'm not feeling real smart, I might think, well, I got him fooled.
Yeah.
So it's what we think about what that person says.
So how do you get over this self-criticism then? I mean, if that's the biggest thing that most of us are facing, what tips and tricks do you have to get you out of that?
Well, one of the things I've found for myself is I'm a goal setter. And so I set goals, and when I achieve a goal, it makes me feel good about myself. It makes me feel like I've succeeded, like I've done something worthwhile. And the more goals I have, the more successes I have. My attorney said to me one time, he said, Judy, you fail more than anybody I know. And I said, yeah, I do. And he said, but you also succeed more than anybody I know. And I think that's the thing. When you take a risk, when you step out of your comfort zone, when you do something that maybe you don't know how to do, or you would like to do, but you're scared to do. Like, I'll never forget the first time I was asked to go speak in another country, and I had to travel by myself to that country, and I didn't know anybody there. And on the
Right.
plane all the way there, I was like, what did you do this for? Why are you doing this? You must be crazy. You should have stayed at home. But once I got there and I was a success at what I did, then I felt confident. Then I felt better about myself. Then I wanted to go and do it again and again and again. And I think it's important for us to step out of our comfort zone, to have some successes, and to play on our successes. Write them down. I always write them in my book. If I have a success every day, I write it in my book. I have this achievement journal that I designed that took me 20 years to get it to where it absolutely guarantees that you'll succeed if you follow the steps in it. But it's like every day you look at what your goals are, and every day you write down the one thing you did that day toward your goal. And if you do 365 things in a year toward your goal, I mean, don't you think you will succeed? Of course.
Absolutely. Have a
So
90-day plan too, or do you do a monthly plan? So sort of like, where are you going, or you're just doing a daily journal?
it's kind of a yearly, monthly, daily journal.
A
It
yearly, monthly, daily journal. Okay.
it's got it all in there.
Yeah.
But every 21 days, you stop and evaluate where you are in the 8 different areas of your life. So you look at everything from your career and your finances and your social life and the people you are with, and whether or not you're a spiritual person. You evaluate all these different parts of your life on every 21 days. And that keeps you looking at it and saying, "Ooh, that's a little off balance," or this is, because we're never going to be totally balanced. People
Right.
talk about have a balanced life. I think you have to have a blended life.
Right.
You're never going to have everything in balance, but you can have it closer than you did, before. And so I put a little chart in there for people so they can measure how they're doing and see it visually, because I'm a real visual person. And I need to see visually, did I do better this month than I did last month? And where am I going next month? And I have to have pictures of my goals in my book. So I can, every day when I write what I did that day towards my goal, I look at all my goals again to see if, oh, am I doing this? And do I still want it? Sometimes you set a goal and you start working towards it and you think, I don't want that anymore. And so
Right.
you don't have to do it, throw it away, and then get another goal. But do what you really want to do. Set goals in your life for who you want to be and where you want to go. That's the important thing.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, one of the hot tips you just gave is, be a risk taker. And if you don't like what's showing up, well, you can choose something different. I really like that. And then the other thing that you really highlighted was the attitude of gratitude. That if you really celebrate your successes and you journal it, guess what? It creates that attitude for more of that to show up in your life. So that's really powerful.
It really does. And that attitude of gratitude is real interesting, because we that live in the Americas, we we've had an advantaged life over most of the world. And we don't really sometimes realize it, when things aren't going the way we think they should, or we don't get something that we wanted, or we work real hard and then everything falls apart. We get real discouraged and we say, oh, life is not so good. But if you go and travel and you go to other countries, like I've been to 29 countries now with my speaking, and I see how some people live in dirt shacks and dirt floors, and they have to burn coal to keep warm in the winter, and their lives are not, they don't even have windows in some of their houses. They don't have, some people live in cardboard boxes. And so when you see that, you better be real grateful that we live in this part of the world and that we have the things that we have. And sure, we might not have everything we want, but we're made to want anything and everything. We should just be really grateful that we're living in this part of the world.
Yeah, we're truly blessed, and in that attitude of gratitude, I was thinking, just how much that I've been caught in that addictive cycle of oh, the 7-figure income or whatever. And then I thought about, I live in paradise. I have a wonderful little house. It's not huge. I'm surrounded by trees and deer. I have a lake to swim in. I have great organic food on my table. If I had $1 million, what else would I really, really want? And, I was really hard pressed to come up with how is $1 million really going to change the quality of my life? It's not really. I'm so blessed. And so being blessed and knowing that you're blessed allows that to flow, right?
It certainly does. It certainly does.
Now, you talked about imagination, that imagination is really important to get over yourself.
The imagination is really, I feel like it's our window to our soul. It's like we can create just about anything in our minds if we'll allow our imagination to do it, and you know, to practice it, to practice making up things or thinking up things or being creative. So many people say to me, I'm not creative. And they're just not creative because they don't practice being creative. Being creative is something we can all do simply by trying something different or combining two things that we didn't think go together, put them together and see what we come up with. And so, just use your imagination to create pictures in your mind. When I was in South Africa, I was there for 10 years and I worked for a big newspaper, and one of the newspaper, I was with the group, and one of our newspapers was the Sowetan newspaper. And we used to have events where we honored women who like raised the whole community, because in some cases the parents had died, and these women would take care of 20 or 30 children to raise the community, and we would honor them. And at one of these dinners, Mr. Mandela was there right after he had gotten out of prison, before he became president. And I had the opportunity to ask him some questions. And he said that one of the things he did when he was in prison was that he always imagined that he would walk free, that he visualized it in his mind, that the day would come that he would walk out of that prison. And sure enough, 27 years later, he did. But he said he never gave up on that vision, that he thought about it every day that he was there.
Well, that's very powerful. So that's part of what you're talking about with how to deal with the shoulda, coulda, woulda,
Yes.
maybe if I would have.
Yes, because so many of us do that. We look back at the past and we're like, well, if I'd only done this, or if I could have done that, or if my parents had been different, or if I'd have gotten to go to a different school, or if I'd have had a better education or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, it is what it is. And so for us to walk around with the coulda, woulda, shouldas, it's just a waste. We need to stay future focused. We always, if we're looking forward, we're not looking back. And we want to look forward because we want to see where we're going and what we're doing and what the possibilities are and what the opportunities are. And I know too many people that are stuck in the, well, when we used to and back when, and it's not healthy. I don't think it's healthy.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have the fear of the future, what if, and oh my goodness, the earth, the sky might fall in or whatever. But you're talking about, an optimistic, excited, what will the future bring sort of attitude, right?
Exactly, exactly. And I think if we stay focused on it and we set goals and we stay excited, it helps people like me stay young. I'm getting older now, and I want to stay healthy and vibrant and feel good about the world. And a lot of the people in my age bracket, they just complain. It's amazing how much they complain about things. I don't want to be around people who are complaining. It's one of the reasons I took up art, because the artists that I know are all pretty positive.
Mhm.
They're doing something. They're painting pictures. They're making colorful things, and it doesn't really matter if anybody buys them or not. The important thing is to do it, is to create it, is to make it happen. However, I do have a garage full I'd like somebody to take off my
Right.
hands.
Well, I guess the advantage of doing that is being in the zone, is being in that flow. And then when you paint, you're out of your conscious mind and your analytical mind. You're in your creative zone, and time has no time flies, so to speak.
It certainly does. The reason I started painting was because I had cancer and I went to the doctor, and my doctor told me to take art lessons and to take ballroom dance lessons. And I actually thought the man had lost his mind, because what did I know about art? I'd never drawn anything or painted anything. And so I went and took lessons, and exactly what you say. When I started taking lessons, I'd be sitting there for 3 hours, and then the teacher would say, "It's time to go." And I'd be like, "But I just got here."
Right,
And
exactly.
I'd be painting on the picture or drawing, and everybody's so quiet in the room, and they're all working on what they're doing, and it's just you get in a space that's and that's why my doctor sent me there. He said it's like meditation. He said you'll go there and you'll be quiet and you'll quit being so stressed.
Yeah. So let's talk about your book. What is your book and how do people get hold of it?
My book, You Are More Than Enough, is it really was written for women, Every Woman's Guide to Purpose, Passion, and Power. But it's a lot of men have read it and told me that it's been really good. And had they had it a lot of years earlier, they would have probably been a lot more successful. It's about the things that we just need to look at to be successful. It's like realizing who you are and imagining who you can be and knowing your possibilities and kind of choosing your future. What do you want to do in the future and setting those goals? And I talk about how we talk to ourselves, like we said earlier, about self-criticism and beating ourselves up. And I talk about believing that you can do things. Earlier in life, I didn't believe I could do things, but now, like once I started drawing pictures, then I believed I could draw pictures. And now if I look at something, I think I can draw that. And it's the difference between, oh, I could never draw that, and I can do that. And then when I try, sometimes I have to erase 5 or 6 or 7 times, but I can make it happen. And it's believing that you can. And if you believe you can, you just keep doing it until you can. That's what's so important. I talk about associating for success, associating with positive people, being around people that believe in you and who are willing to support you as well as you supporting them. I talk in the book. I also talk about establishing how you look, because one of the things that happened when I was growing up was my mother made me get up in the morning and get dressed and look in the mirror and fix myself up to where I looked presentable to the world. She'd say, if you look good, you'll feel good. You'll feel better about yourself if you look good. And even today, if I get up in the morning and I just throw on some old sweats and I don't do my makeup or my hair, by the middle of the day, I'm kind of in a tacky mood.
Yeah.
And so if I get up and put on my makeup and get dressed and well, then I'm about going out and facing the world. It gives me confidence.
Dress
So
for success. So do you have an upcoming course attached to your book?
I do. I actually have a course on the 22nd and 23rd of June in Las Vegas. We'll be doing a 2-day boot camp. But that one's kind of focused specifically for people who want to get their message out to people in the world. So it's more like for speakers or people who are Toastmasters or people who really want to get their message out there. And I also have an online course called the Achieve More Method, which is all based on this book, More Than Enough, on how you can achieve more in your life and feel better about yourself.
And when's the opening to the course? Is it periodic or can anybody join at any time or what?
Yeah, people can sign up anytime and join it. Yeah, it's pre-recorded, but in addition to the pre-recorded tapes, they also get like a once a month telephone call with me. It's a part of the course.
Is it as a group telephone call or is it an individual one?
One-on-one.
Wow, lucky them.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time with people, but you know what? I love it because as we grow older and the people that that we love and have in our lives, as they go away, it's kind of nice to replace them with new people. Not that we want to replace them,
Right.
but they leave us. We have to have somebody in our lives, right?
Yeah, so as we're about to wrap up this show, what would you like to leave people with?
Well, the main state, that was my cat. Did you hear it? Just as you said, what would you like to leave people with? It went, that's not what I want to leave people with. I just really want people to believe that they are more than enough and they need to quit underestimating themselves and overestimating other people.
Thank you for showing up. I greatly appreciate this. And the links will be in the show notes of how to join the courses. And we're going to have you back to talk about your other book. Quickly, what's your other book?
My other book is Overcoming Cancer, A Journey of Faith.
Yeah, and that's going to be another great interview with you. Most of us really are our worst critic. So thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
All right, bye for now.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.